It's the new year, time for a new challenge. And it appears my current challenge is trying to break in this new gi. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Kenji Martial Arts. Now, it's January, the time of year people decide on trying a new thing, or setting a target for something amazing to strive for, or of course like me, leaving it till next Monday. But for those of you who have binge watched the latest season of Cobra Kai, I know for a fact that you are looking to start martial arts. So this video is for you. I did do a longer video on choosing a martial arts for beginners a while ago. I'll throw an iCard up here and a link down below in case you're interested. The video is still really useful. But today I'm going to condense some of that down for you into what I believe are the 5 most important things to do, consider, think about when choosing a new martial art to go into. So without further ado, let's get started. Or maybe I don't feel like starting, maybe I'll start Monday. The first thing to consider is availability and lifestyle. Now what on earth do I mean by that? How many hours are there in the day? How many hours in that day are you working or going to university or college or even school? How much time do you spend doing housework and other daily necessities? How much time are you willing to give up watching TV? I'm kidding, you don't have to give up watching TV, but you see my point. There are only so many hours in a day, and training martial arts will take up some of that time. Thankfully, most martial arts schools tend to run in the evenings where people have free time, so that's handy. But if you're like me, where you have to take breaks every now and then due to things happening in your life or exams, it does mean taking time away from training to focus on other things. So of course, manage your day as best as you possibly can, so that when you come home after a long day, you can get ready and then get to training. The second thing to consider is costs. How much money are you willing to invest? A basic karate gi can cost around £30. Boxing gloves and shin guards can cost £20 each. Classes can cost anywhere between £5 to £10. Licenses that you have to pay each year can cost around £30. Gradings, £15. Your kidneys cost around 200 grand last I checked. It's what are you realistically able to part with and realistically able to spend properly. Now here's a money saving tip. Most dojos will offer an introductory trial session to their classes, absolutely free. So find classes that do that and go to 100 of them at 100 different locations, basically giving you a free survey to work with. Find out which class suits you, your training expectations and goals, and of course how much each one charges. There can be some competitively priced ones, some expensive ones, but as long as you find yourself happy with the quality of instruction and the time that you're getting training, there's no problem. The third thing to consider is choosing an art. Now do not get hung up on wanting to practice a specific art or style. Just because your mate from the pub recommended one does not mean you have to do the same one as well. Jeff does not have all the answers. All martial arts styles are valid. However, that does not mean every martial arts style is taught in a valid way. For me, a martial art should have plenty of working and sparring with a partner, because too much time spent waving your arms around in kata practice or forms is just a wasted time and wasted money. You could quite literally have done the same thing at home and not paid a penny. To find a good school, go back to basics. Messenger pigeons, Morse code, and smoke signals. You know what to do, just Google it. You'll find schools on Google Maps and on Facebook pages. Just a quick internet search can come up with 100 different schools in your area. You may not have access to every single art under the sun, but you will have good and valid schools in your area. Don't bother travelling an hour outside of your way to go to a class just because it was rated good on TripAdvisor. Look local and save time. You might have your heart set on kickboxing, for example, but there aren't any kickboxing classes in your area. Have you tried the karate dojo just round the corner? Or what about that judo dojo 2 minutes down the road? All I'm saying is just try it. Get your foot in the door and start kicking and throwing. Now the fourth thing to consider is your commitment, your drive, and your interest in pursuing martial art. So developing the habit of finishing college or work for the day is fine, but then you need to come home and start developing the habit of getting ready to go to training. Make sure that your equipment is ready and that things are set up so you can come back home, go to training, come back home again, have a shower, maybe a cheeky snack in between, and then get yourself off to bed. Give or take, it takes around 21 days to form a habit, so doing this consistently is keeping up your commitment to going to training. You will never learn a single technique or a principle within a single session. It takes a while to get these things ingrained into your muscle memory in your mind. And when they are, then you can say that you know the basics of it. Martial arts mastery takes a long time, and it is a lifelong pursuit for as long as you keep training. Then there's your own interest in the art to consider. I personally like to do research. I read books. I go to various seminars throughout the year. I attend the occasional competition. I'm part of a study group where where I'm roasted on a regular basis. Shout out to the Bunkai Bastard, link down below. Then you've got to consider your own drive to improve. When I was younger, I couldn't afford a gym membership. So every day I wasn't at the dojo, I was at home repping kicks, punches, blocks, techniques, kata, again and again and again, because that was my goal at the time, to get better at that specific form of training. I won't lie, making those sorts of things a habit was very difficult. I constantly found myself procrastinating all the time, looking for any reason not to do it, but now it comes so much more naturally to want to train. But there is a flip side. I did used to beat myself up a little bit for missing a training session or not training at home, but years later, now I realise that was very minor and it was not a good reason to make myself feel bad. So whilst it's a great idea to keep yourself interested and motivated, you should never ever hold yourself mentally or emotionally hostage to it. It's always about balance. Now this section turned into a little bit of a rant towards the end, but the takeaway here is to keep yourself motivated and interested in wanting to train martial arts, but do not let it destroy you, because you do have a life to live. Now lastly, the fifth and arguably the most important thing on this list is to look out for McDojos and scams. Now if you've been following my channel for a while, you'll realise that I've mentioned this 1,012 times now, so prepare for the 1,013th time. When I was younger, I used to train in ITF Taekwondo. The training was very difficult. I had instructors with stupid egos, control complexes, which made them belittle and punish students because they were quite frankly incompetent at what they were doing, and took it out on us. And on top of that, classes cost an arm and a leg to pay for. I was speaking to a guy I met at another training club whose youngest son was going to my old organisation to train with them. He was only about 12 years old and he was going for a coloured belt grading. It was nothing special, nothing too important, just the usual grading. It cost him £120 for a 12-year-old. Now this to me is an obvious scam. They indoctrinate you into a cult. They make you think that their way is better than any other way that's come before, and anyone who disagrees with what they say are con men and liars. Well, that's the thing. My old organisation were the con artists, and they were unnaturally and unfortunately good at marketing ideas to people. Now this is my own experience. I would most certainly call it my old organisation a McDojo, a scam. Lots of strict people with perceived great discipline, but in all honesty they had no idea what they were teaching. I was at it was either a grading or a seminar once, and they told me that a movement like this, where you lift your hand up, other hand to the hip, you are knocking the loose change and coins out of someone's hand. Someone's holding coins, you're knocking it out of their hand. Again, I'm ranting. It appears to be today's theme. But these are the things that McDojos and scams will do. They'll make you think that you can be like Goku if you train with them long enough. Just make sure you spend the rest of your life training with them, don't look at any other martial systems, and hand over massive loads of cash. They act overly formal and self-important. They pretend to be very mysterious and insightful, like great old wise masters. But they didn't really teach, they instructed, they played Simon Says effectively. And if you did something wrong, they would start yelling at you for no good reason. And if you started doing something right, they would make it seem like, oh, you've made a great start to it, but you'll learn the real secret in a few years' time after you've paid for so many classes and seminars and whatnot. As if there was an extra step to learn, but years later there was never an extra step to learn. You got the techniques, but they made it seem like you didn't. When you do look for a class, make sure you don't find incompetent teachers who don't know what they're talking about. Yeah, so there is a lot that can go into finding a martial arts class, but it doesn't have to be too complicated. You should be able to find a class where you feel comfortable. You get on with the people there. It's friendly and nearby. The class pushes you in the right way and it challenges you to become a better martial artist. It doesn't force you to be a better martial artist. Trust me, those two are different and the latter does not work. And of course the financial bottom line, that you are happy and able to pay for these classes. That's all. It doesn't have to be complicated to start with. Find somewhere that's good for you. You want to find a class where you feel happy and excited and maybe even just a little bit nervous to go to it. And that's okay. I recently started training at a second judo club about half an hour down the road from me. I had such a good time there. I'm definitely going back because it was fun, friendly, they had a great facility, great instructors and really good training partners. First step is always just taking that leap out of your comfort zone. You might feel nervous, maybe even a little bit sick thinking about it, but believe me, it is worth it. Now there's a lot of information on this video. If you do need to go back and look at some of it, please do. If you do have any case specific questions, please drop them down in the comments and I'll do my best to help you, or if not, you can DM me on Instagram. Anyway, that's all from me for today. As usual, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Hit me up on my socials, and of course I wish you all the best with your training, or even the start of your training. Take care.